7:30. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting, especially Janet Carlson, our new board member, and thank everyone who ran for office in this last election and willingness to serve the town. First thing on our agenda is approval of November 2nd meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
And I'll second that. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Communications. I just have one. A couple from the highway department. There is snow in the forecast, so people are reminded to get their snow tires, get ready for winter. We've had a great fall, but winter is around the corner, and there's a couple of potential flurries in the forecast. So get ready for that. We will be putting a storm preparation flyer into the Chronicle in January. So that's communications. Also, we may be doing some work on River Road right at the 128 intersection. There was some damage in one of the heavy rain events to the rocks on the retaining wall there on the bank of River Road. So we may have to close River Road for a day if we get a chance to work to move some of those rocks back in place. So we'll notify the neighbors if that's going to happen ahead of time, but just to let people know that work is in process. Any other communications? Let's see then. Additions to the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Into COVID-19. We were looking forward to not have to talk about COVID, but unfortunately we did have a flare-up centered around our youngest residents in town, especially at Cornwall Consolidated. We had a number of classes are now gone remote because of positive tests there at the school. And again, this is we had a meeting of our emergency committee this morning, and talking to the school nurse, she said it was very interesting to see the correlation between the vaccination levels, because the upper grade, especially the 8th grade, is almost completely vaccinated. So there wasn't many cases there. And as you went down into the middle school, where the kids are scheduled to get vaccinated, but they haven't been able to get it, there was much more of an outbreak. So again, we're very lucky to have good people working at the school that care a lot about the kids, and worked with them over the weekend to assess what was going on. And we are in good shape there they haven't had any new cases this week, but as I said, a couple of grades are going remote, and I think it is a learning opportunity, and especially the importance of getting vaccinated and the booster shots that are available now, and encourage people to do that as we get into our holiday season with more and people being inside more. We have to be prepared for that. And again, we encourage some restriction on in-person gatherings. We will have the tree lighting, but we're not going to be serving any refreshments. And that's the day after Thanksgiving in Cornwall Bridge. So we're going to try to, pivot things. So, and again, encourage people to be vaccinated, wear a mask for all public events. Because we, right now we have more cases of COVID in town than we have since the start of the pandemic, which is happening in other places. Again, as you're seeing, some of the vaccines begin to lose their effectiveness, and it is being spread in other places with especially asymptomatic kids who haven't been yet vaccinated. Region 1 is having a pretty aggressive clinic program for for young people to get vaccinated. So hopefully this will, again, just be another little blip, but again, is serious business. So anything else on COVID things? Okay. Next, we have appointments. We have a lot of vacancies and appointments to do tonight. And thanks to John for doing the legwork or the computer work to get confirmation. We have approximately 30 incumbent town officials that we need to appoint. Tonight, there are some vacancies still beyond this list, but especially some groups like the Inland Wetlands Commission needs to be reappointed, or else they won't have the ability to do business. And other, most of the other town boards, same way. In order to get their quorum, we have to make some appointments. And then we'll go over the list of vacancies after we're done. So the goal is also to, at the end of this, advertise in the Chronicle and on the website, get a list of vacancies after we make these appointments, and try to bring in some new people, some new talent to some of the boards. And there is a variety of openings that we will be filling in the next month or so. So to start out with, the Conservation Commission, we have Pat Mo, and what I like to do is we'll vote on these agency by agency. So Conservation Commission, 3-year term, we have Pat Mulberry, the chair, who works hard, and Debbie Bennett, who's also very active. So I'd make a motion to reappoint those two people. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Yeah. Okay, no discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Janet, is that a affirmative?
That's an aye. Sorry, I was muted.
Aye, yeah. Okay, great. And I'm not up to see everybody. So anyway, one of many votes ahead. Great. So let's see, next is Cornwall Grange Fund, 3-year term. Susan Zaccardi and Wendy Kennedy have agreed to serve again. Is there a second to those nominations?
Second.
Okay, John's got all this. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town historian, Dodie Clark Wolf is willing to serve again for another 3-year term. So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second. I beat you, Priscilla.
Good, you did.
Okay, there you go. First to the buzzer. Okay, good work. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Housatonic River Commission alternate, Barton Jones. I'll make a motion to appoint Bart as alternate. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Phil Hart is a full member, but his term is not up. So any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the Inland Wetlands Agency, 2-year term. We have D. Stevenson Hedden, William J. Herbert, Debbie Bennett, Peter Demi, Roger Kane. Is there a second to nominating those
Second.
5 people? We see Janet weighing in. Great. Any discussion? Again, we thank those people for doing that work. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, there are 2 alternate vacancies. So again, we'll get a list of those together. Cream Hill Lake Study Group. We have, better do this right because a lot of these people are watching us. So we have Ivan Miller, Betty Spence, Heidi Kunick, Nancy Berry, Richard Griggs. Okay, is there a second to that group? the esteemed guardians of the lake.
Second,
So, any discussion? Okay, thank you for doing that. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Economic Committee, still a little bit of a, we have a couple of vacancies there. I understand Priscilla is not seeking reappointment there, and thank her for her service of many years on that board. Janet has expressed an interest in being the Selectman ex officio member, which I pulled out the ordinance that established this, so there is in it a Selectman ex officio member that's mentioned in the town meeting status, statute, ordinance, whatever. I get to go to the meetings anyway, but I think that it is mentioned that there will be a Selectman ex officio. So I'd make a motion to appoint Janet to that position. Is there a second? Okay,
second,
from Priscilla. Thank you, Priscilla. And that also, again, frees up another vacancy on that commission. So if we get some new people with that, I think that's important. Yes, so then have we heard anything back from Kate Sandmeyer, Ward?
Not yet.
And we think there's a vacancy, so there'd be at least 3 vacancies there, probably 2 or 3.
Yes.
So again, we will advertise that. And again, the other thing people should know, they have, according to the ordinance, you have to be an elector of the town. Each one of, most of these appointments, you need to be an elector, although I believe the Cream Hill Lake Study Group isn't quite that formal, but the Economic Development Commission is, according to the thing. So we will advertise that, and we'll get back to Kate Ward to see if she wants to serve again. So no action there. We do have some terms up on Park and Rec. And then we've got,
Gordon,
yes,
you didn't finish the vote on EDC, so putting me for ex officio. Is it appropriate? It's not appropriate for me to vote, correct?
probably not. So you have to
Okay,
be.
I'll recuse myself from that vote then.
Okay, and thank you for catching me up on that. Yeah, so anyway, so back to EDC, Janet Carlson to be the ex officio Selectman representative. So anyway, any more discussion? All those in favor?
aye,
Aye, so that is 2 with 1 recusal. 2 affirmative. Okay, then more work to be done on the EDC as always. Then Park and Rec, we have, looks like we have 4 people willing to serve again, and there are, I think, a couple more that whose terms aren't up. We have Shana Robinson, Michelle Ship, Johan Windsor, and Stacy Dolan. I see Johan here in the bushes. Hey, Johan, how you doing? The chair, the chair pro tem. Thank you for stepping in. Okay, so I would make a motion to appoint those 4 people to Park and Rec.
second,
Okay, double second. Any discussion? Okay, again, thanks to that board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Planning and zoning, 6-year term. We have Bruce Bennett, who is serving as currently as an alternate, very attentive at the meetings, is willing to do it again. It's a 6-year term. Selectmen are lucky we only get a 2-year term, but planning and zoning is supposed to be more of a deliberative body, a longer term view of the town. And so they get 6-year terms. So as does, I believe, the Board of Finance,
Yes.
who fills their own vacancies. So they do have a vacancy because Janet will no longer be on that. So they will be filling their own vacancy there. So anyway, I will make a motion to appoint Bruce as alternate. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. And there is at least one alternate vacancy there. So again, we will advertise that, and I think that might be a competitive spot. So anyway, we will seek to fill that vacancy. If there may be more than one, so we will figure that out for alternates. Tree warden, we have Fred Scoville is the current tree warden, and Jim Vanicky, our highway foreman, has just completed the tree warden course because unfortunately there are increasing amounts of tree work on the sides of the road. And I think it would be very handy to have Jim be able to work on that project also. So, and then we have Bruce Bennett as an assistant who served for years as the Kent tree warden. So we are well staffed in tree wardens. And again, they have a domain in the town right of way. In town, they do not control, and also on town property trees. They do not control people's trees on people's individual land or on state land. But they do have an official role to play when there are trees that need attention in the town right of way abutting people's property. So I would make a motion to appoint those three talented arborists to the role of tree warden.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? And thanks, Jim, for taking time to complete the course. It's pretty rigorous, and like a lot of jobs, it's more complicated than perhaps it would seem. Next, we have
You want to
Don't-
finish the vote there?
what? A vote?
The vote, yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, we're waiting to hear from one of the incumbents, and we may
My
have
husband was mentioned.
other
My
vacant-
child gave a start.
Yes. So no action required at on the Zoning Board of Appeals at this point, but we will be looking to fill some vacancies there. Also, I think that's it for vacancies at this point, but we'll be getting a list together and taking more action the next couple of meetings. So again, thanks everybody for volunteering to continue service, and we'll be looking for more people to serve going forward. Anything else on vacancies from the board? Okay, I think we're good. All right, so Sharon Hospital update. It's been a pretty busy 2 weeks. Sharon Hospital, as people probably have read, is proposing to close their maternity service and restrict some of the other services that are offered there. I did attend a meeting last Friday. No, week ago Friday, and Saturday there was a rally in Kent or in Sharon on the Green, which was very well attended by people from both New York and Connecticut, and there were a number of speakers. So again, that's a very important issue that will be working its way through the review process. Many of us are very concerned about losing services at Sharon Hospital because it provides primary care services for many people in our town, and also acts as medical control for our emergency services, ambulance service. So we want to promote and work with people at Sharon Hospital for a robust, full service, healthy hospital And there'll be, again, plenty of updates coming up about events, which we will publicize. And I believe the state has launched an investigation into looking at the curtailment of services at Sharon Hospital. So there is a ongoing process, and there probably more than one process happening to address this issue. So stay tuned about that. Transfer station update. I saw Ted here earlier. Ted and Will are here, I think.
Yep.
So anyway, did we get a trailer this afternoon, or how'd things go?
Yeah, the trailer arrived at 2 o'clock as what was predicted there. Got it all leveled up. Garrick, Deneen came about 4:15 or so. He took a look at it. For electrical wise, he didn't seem to see any issues. It'll serve our purpose for what we needed to do. So Garrick was hoping to get started on Thursday this week, hooking up some electrical. So we've made appropriations inside the our little shack there, so he can do what he needs to do. And then we'll see how far it goes from there.
Yeah, so I did talk to our contractor, Mr. Terrell. And the goal again is to start on the demo of the old station between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Try to get foundation poured as soon as possible and push as fast as we can to get things enclosed. We did hear, as usual, when national issues have its way of making their way to Cornwall, we are having our own supply chain issue with the windows, apparently. Any type of window are now up to 12 weeks out. So that may delay us somewhat on the window part, but it's my feeling that we should keep on pushing ahead. These are challenging times, and I'd rather get things started, and sooner we start, the sooner we finish. And, you know, like everything else, there may be some delays from time to time, but I feel we should push ahead where we can, and that's one of the places we can. So
I have a quick question,
let's
Gordon.
do it. Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't clear to me what the purpose of the trailer was.
So the purpose of the trailer is that we're tearing down the office, because the new office can be slightly bigger than the old office. So we needed to keep operations moving, or
Okay,
we need operations in place and have a place for the office and all the equipment, and have a place, you know, workstation for our crew while the other one's being construction.
okay, so it's just a temporary workstation.
Absolutely. And
Okay,
so they
got
can move their computers and
Got it. Okay,
equipment in there, get it hooked up. That's what Garrett's gonna get the electrical hooked
Okay.
up, and so then they can move the equipment. So then basically get everything out of the old space, and then the old space can get torn down, and said probably after Thanksgiving. But this gives, you know, again, it gives time to move the stuff, you know, when they can. And again, Ted, if you guys need a little overtime or something, or want to hire a few extra people to get things sorted out, I know this is some of the busiest times. So if you need some extra time, we can't hire an interior designer, but we can hire people to help
Yeah.
the collection over to the temporary quarters.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll see how it goes. We started moving stuff over today. But again, we got a lot more to move over. We may just hook you up on that. Let's see how far we get when we need to have what we need to have.
Right. Yeah. Right. We all know, yeah. Forecast is for weather to get cooler. So as soon as we can get whatever we can do to get you guys set up in the temporary space, that'd be great. Yeah. So anyway, we're off taking the first steps on that. So
Gordon?
anything else on that from, yes, Priscilla?
I just wanted to compliment both Ted and Will, They are always so helpful. I'm a regular at the transfer station, and I appreciate their assistance very, very much. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome.
Yes, well said, and I think well appreciated. Um, And again, trying to keep, this has not been the easiest years now to keep everything moving. We have to keep things moving, and hopefully we'll get some good, some new quarters there to make it easier. So I did get a request to reopen the swap shop, but again, I'm letting that be the call of the operators and things until, I said, this is our sort of our busy time. So maybe in 2022, we can open that back up if things calm down, but until we get, our temporary move going and get through the holidays, I think. What's your thought on that, Ted and Will? The swap
Yeah.
shop?
It is open. We've opened it up
Okay.
now for, I don't know, got to be 2 months now, but it's only open Tuesdays and Thursdays. We feel that at this point in time, due to COVID and all that, we can kind of keep an eyeball on it a little bit more, and we don't quite have as much traffic. If we open it up on weekends, I think it would be totally out of control for us at this point, because we got so much going on down there. Do you agree with that, Will? I think we talked about it.
Yeah, I think that's the smart thing to do. We're so busy on Saturdays and Sundays. Like you saw today, there's 5 or 6 cars parked over there today. I couldn't imagine trying to deal with that on a Sunday at 11:15.
Yeah, these are, you do have your weekend fans, I'll tell you that much. This is a big big day out is Saturday at the swap shop. So anyway, we look forward to once we get back to that. At this point, we want to just keep things moving. So appreciate it. Okay. All right. So anyway, so we'll just keep working on pushing the projects forward there. And again, we haven't lost sight of our composting ideas and efforts, and we'll bring that up under our goals, item number 6 or number 7 there. So anyway, all right. Thank you both. Anything else on transfer station update? Town meeting, November 19th, 7 p.m. That will be by Zoom. That's Friday night. There's 2 things on the agenda, and that is to review the town report for the previous year, the year that ended this June 30th. So it's going back in time, so it can be a little confusing. So, but anyway, there is a town report which Barbara Herbst is getting back from the printer, hopefully tomorrow. It will go up on the website. There will be hard copies available at important town landmarks, like the post office and the transfer station, the library, town hall. And it looks really good. It's an excellent document if people want to, especially new people in town, want to see what's going on in town, because sometimes some of the organizations aren't as widely publicized. It gives a very good snapshot and report of where the town is at, and some of the community efforts that are ongoing to make this, a special place. So anyway, look forward to that. And again, thank Barbara for doing that. So that's one thing that goes over. And in that report is also the town financial report, which is the only thing that has to be in the report. Is every year we have to give a report to the town on its financial condition and how the audited accounts were for the previous year. And glad to report the town ran a substantial surplus last year. And the Board of Finance will actually be making that presentation at the town meeting this Friday night. The other part of this, we do encourage board members to be at that meeting because almost all the boards have a report in there. And if there are questions from the public for boards or agencies, it's a good time to ask them. So that can, it's another opportunity to asked people questions about what has happened in the town. It's said it's a look back at the previous year, but a lot of these things are ongoing. The other thing we have on the agenda is the annual approval of town year plan. That's looking at some of our capital purchases for the next 5 years. So that, again, is a subject, something that's to be approved by the town so we can get some state grant money to help us with our capital purchases. So look forward to that. Again, that's at 7 o'clock this Friday night. And look for that report. Should be up on the website in the next day or so. So you can see that has a nice picture on the cover of incredible peach crop the town enjoyed this summer. Nice red peaches on the cover, so look for that. So anything else on the town meeting coming up? Housing issues. Priscilla asked this to be on the agenda. We know we have our hearing on the town housing plan coming up in December 8th. But Priscilla, do you have any other thoughts, comments, anything on housing issues?
Yes, I'm concerned that we don't have rentals available for people, for locals. I'm not talking about the $3,000 and $4,000 a month things that New Yorkers take. I'm talking about locals, and I think perhaps it's time to consider, should we be considering a new Bonnybrook or a new Cougarman Village? I think these are real time, full-time life issues for Cornwallians. And I don't know the real costs, but I know it's lots of money, but I think it's a real need. I'm not talking pie in the sky here. That was what I wanted to bring up.
Absolutely. And I think the housing plan does address that in some ways. And I think some of the things that calls for, as far as having a housing advocacy group in addition to the Housing Corporation, would be really good. And I have talked to Margaret Cooley of the Housing Corporation about, fundraising to, buy some land for some projects or housing or whatever. But I share your absolute concern with housing. And again, I know a young family that was renting a house in town, tried to look for a house to buy. Currently, the least expensive house on the market right now in Cornwall is $680,000. There's nothing for sale less than that. So this young family who's the mother grew up here and had kids in the school, have now bought a house in Falls Village. So, I mean, I think that's what you're seeing is people leaving, having to leave. And again, it's that rental part is part of it. And again, the $3,000 and $4,000 a month minimum, the $680,000 a month minimum purchase price. And I think you're seeing that also play out and overlap in issues like the Sharon Hospital thing, that without families here, you won't have the maternity. Without the maternity, you start losing your critical mass of your hospital. I mean, you start losing your churches, you start losing, your infrastructure, your social infrastructure of the whole town. So this is absolutely critical that we keep the pressure on. And so without, and I think it goes right into our next thing. And again, I think planning and zoning is going to be willing to take up some of these initiatives and reduce some of the regulations that will make it easier for people to have accessory apartments, which I think are a key thing.
Mhm.
It's another thing that, with Bonnie, I was involved somewhat with Bonnybrook and not much with Cougarman, but a little bit, just to know that those projects are millions of dollars, and probably if you start now, you might get it done in 4 or 5 years. So there's, and again, that heavily relying on state funding and things, and not that it doesn't need to be done, but if we can also do things like expand accessory apartments or other options that we can do, we need to do, a broad approach. So what I would like to get in, we have our number 7 thing is Board of Selectmen term goals, and every year after the election, we get back to business and take an assessment of what do we feel as a board needs to be done and look ahead so we don't, jump from meeting to meeting without a clear purpose. And again, things can pop up. Like when we sat down 2 years ago, we didn't anticipate COVID, but here it is, 50 meetings later, it's been the top of our agenda. But that doesn't mean there aren't things like housing that was on our agenda 2 years ago, and I would say that's top on our list this time. And what I'd like to do is just put that out there, that maybe at our next meeting we can maybe finalize some goals. But there are a bunch of things we're working on at this point that we need to stay focused on. And we know we will, they will be agenda items constantly for the next couple of years. And so that's, housing is one. Healthcare / Sharon Hospital is another. And generally, social services, taking care of people that need to be taken care of. We had, again, a record amount of families and people at the food pantry this week. Heather also said at our meeting this morning that there is a great need for holiday gifts for the kids in town, and especially art supplies, which I thought, being an art community in a lot of ways, that should be something people agree on, is that, and that I thought was really encouraging. She said every family that's requesting gifts for the holiday season, every family's requesting art supplies, which I think that should be something everybody should agree on, would be something that people should donate towards. And again, we'll put things up about that, but we will start having gift collections at the town hall, and the town hall will actually be used for Heather's workshop, pulling all these requests. And we get a great deal of donations from our friends at Troop B up in Canaan, and individuals in town drop things off. Some of the churches help. But again, if people want to know what they can contribute, art supplies are the thing. And I think the Child Center is actually doing a drive for art supplies. So taking care of people is obviously one of our top priorities.
Gordon,
Yes.
is there
Yeah.
a list of specific art supplies? Just so that people can get the appropriate thing?
Yeah, I think we'll get something out there. But I think what we've had in the past is paper, paints, that kind of thing. Generally 6 to 11 is the general age 6 to 12, something like that,
Okay.
age groups. So, and what's neat is some of those, you can get like a whole kit stuff, crayons, all that good stuff, coloring books, anything, just blank paper for kids to draw on. Very healthy activities. So anyway, we will be pushing that more with Heather. And again, thanks to her for all she does. Another whole, another big thing that we're working on is trying to get a vote off on the West Cornwall Wastewater plant project. I have been in touch with Congresswoman Hayes's office, and people have probably been following the excitement budget votes in the nation's capital. This project, the community project funds are not in the infrastructure bill, and hopefully they will be in this Build Better Back, or whatever it's called.
Build back better.
Build Back Better. Thank you. So hopefully we'll be doing our part by building back better, substantially better than what's now. So anyway, that our goal is to find out the level of federal funding, whether we get the full amount that we thought we were eligible for, or whether we go back to USDA and go through that route. So that's up there on activity list. Also, we have been working, and we will continue to work on reducing our environmental impact, especially with the solid waste crisis in Connecticut, and trying to get a composting operation of some type in place. As we know, the price of getting rid of garbage is going up dollar wise, and also we're having to truck it now partway across the country, which is an environmental disaster in itself. So anyway, we will be doing our job, our effort to reduce the amount that goes out of town, and encourage either an individual or collective composting operation. We also have renovation of town buildings, trying to get complete renovations at the transfer station, and also start looking at a comprehensive look at the town hall, which is our largest, well, school is actually larger, but as far as town building is the largest building, sort of most complicated, because it's the oldest unique architecture. So again, but there's a lot of deferred maintenance needs to be done on it, and trying to, I don't think we see any huge architectural changes, but there are some energy efficiencies that have happened in the last while that we should be aware of. So again, we'll probably hire some sort of architectural historian to look at that. Somebody specializes in old relics. But again, it's central to the town for a variety of uses, and we will look at that. And then we have the ARPA funds. We've started on that. These are the rescue plan funds. And there's a separate committee that's looking at that, but that will be something that's up and running. And not to mention one of the more potentially exciting things will be the town will take some action on cannabis sales or not, or moratoriums. That will be coming up in the next couple of years, is action required by the town on what we want to do with all that. So that's a pretty big full plate. And again, I'd be glad to hear if there's more stuff. I know fiber optics is out there, and there is some, we need to work with our other towns to put pressure to get Optimum to build out their fiber optics. So we might bring that up as another one of our goals to push that through. That would be very good to get that done. I mean, they supposedly are starting engineering next year and starting build out the year after that, but we may need to appoint somebody to help us spearhead that. And there are people that might be willing. So anyway.
Gordon,
Yes, Janet.
would it be helpful for Priscilla and I to put together some of our thoughts and just get those to you?
Yeah, I think
Something to accomplish.
we can do that. You know, I have my little list here, and I think if we can, if you have your list, we can have those ahead of the meeting. We won't,
Yes.
and then we'll decide at the meeting. And again, these are not binding, but these are things that I think are front and center. And if there are other commissions that are, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that all the commissions are wrestling with at this time, but this is our sort of fairly long, short list of projects. Sure, great. And it doesn't have, it's not a right or wrong answers on these things, but these are things that we gotta look at ahead of us. Great. So then, yeah, so we'll try to get something on that nailed down in December for our goals for the term, and see how we do. Okay, any other thoughts on that? Okay, so then if there's no other thoughts on that, we have no additions, we're on to public comments. We have a group of people here. Caroline, I see a hand up.
Hi, yeah, I was just, thanks for mentioning the American Rescue Plan funds, and I was just wondering if you can give us a sense of when the website is going to be ready. That was mentioned at the last meeting, the Met website about the funds and how to apply and the application process and the deadline, or if any,
We have we did put out an insert in the Chronicle, I think 2 months ago that reviewed all that, but we can put that up again. So there was a whole insert in the Chronicle that reviewed the program and the criterion and how to apply. So we can put that up again. I think if that's not obvious, then we can repost that.
thanks. And do you have a list of entities that have already received funding?
Nobody's received any funding yet. We do have probably a dozen or more applications from businesses and nonprofit organizations. So what we're doing at this point is trying to get some sort of matrix or something that we can look at some of these applications with. And we have a committee that has been appointed by this board and the Board of Finance to just sort through some of these applications.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions out there? Okay. Hearing none. Anyway, thank you all for attending, plenty to do. And again, thank everybody for volunteering to serve their town. It's exciting. I think it's an exciting time to be in Cornwall, driving around tonight. On my way to Hall's Garage. It's great just to see the amount of houses that are lit up now that had been dark a couple years ago, and there's more people in town, which means there's more talent in town, there's more energy in town, there's more kids in town. So I think again, there's a real opportunity to keep building on that energy that we have here. And again, thank you all for participating.
I have one more thing.
One more thing.
There is supposed to be a very big shortage on ski and snowboarding equipment. I just read that in the New York Times briefing tonight. So everybody needs to run down to Three Guys Ski and Ride and load up on your ski equipment, because apparently there's going to be some sort of shortage. So they have picked the best business they could be in for the winter, I see.
I can believe that. I know Mohawk had an excellent year last year, and I believe they've already sold out of season passes.
They did.
And again, they did a very good job in pivoting their business and adapting and using COVID not as an obstacle, but as a point to make something positive. And again, positioning our town to take advantage of the outside and welcome people here to enjoy what we have. It creates business opportunities, creates employment, and does a really public service. And we're well positioned to be a Four Seasons recreational place for a lot of people enjoy. So again, I will second that. I look forward to shopping in Cornwall this holiday season. Things to do. Okay. Any other hard questions from the press? I see the press is here.
Nope, I can't think of a single hard question, but
Single hard question, soft question. Okay. Anyway, thanks to James Laporta. We should have our holiday tree up in Cornwall Bridge right after Thanksgiving. So thanks for that, solar powered there. So he does a lot to keep that going. So anyway, all right. Thank you all. Good night. Take care. Thank you, John, for keeping this all
Night.
organized.
Thanks,
All right.
John.
Take care now.